you got yourself an old lawnmower such as this Husqvarna, and not only does it have a hell of a time starting, because it's got shorts and electrical problems and all kinds of stupid crap going on in there, but some brilliant engineer decided to put a key ignition on it. And here's the dumb shit about it. We lost the key now. So now we can't even attempt to hard start this thing because I ain't got the key. We're going to go ahead and totally bypass it to a main toggle power switch and a push button start. Now we just push the damn button and anybody can go and mow. And if someone wants to steal it, well, at least mow my yard on your way out. How about that? So let's get to it, man. Let's go. Okay, I just want to get this panel up just to access the electrics here. Basic system there. You can see that this thing was already kind of half broken right there. This thing was hit by something heavy fell on it and kind of messed up even the hour meter and everything else. So it's already kind of jacked up to begin with. Obviously, we're going to bypass this whole thing because I don't want to have to deal with finding a key and all that shit. And you never know who took the key and who didn't. I think it might even be telling us where the connectors go. That's pretty interesting. Okay, well, that's good to know. So there's the contacts right there. There's a spring, all that. So really what we need is just this part here, huh? Now we just have to figure out what does what. Alrighty, so digging around a little bit more with it, now I kind of have a little better headway. So let me show you what I figured out here. Check out what happens when I go to starter and to B1. Now we have power. The power is actually being delivered from the starter side. That's why connecting B and A1 and L and A2, directly, we're not doing anything. B has to be fed first from starter, then to A1, then it goes L and A2 and all that. The ignition switch was not being fed, and that's where I was trying to struggle, is to figure out where is the ignition switch being fed from. It's actually being fed from the S, or the starter position. And I found out that this fuse block here, not just the fuse, but the fuse block itself has failed. It's not transmitting power at all. So I'm gonna have to bypass this for right now because I don't have the right fuse for it or a replacement fuse block. So I'm just gonna bypass that for the time being. All these circuits are all interconnected all together. And it basically is interconnected through here. So essentially I'm gonna try to cut this section out, just splice all these guys together and figure out how to feed it power directly. Because as soon as I flip that switch, I just want everything to be powered. Boom, that'll be the main on-off switch. All right, let's get this block out of the way here. This is a failed block. They put a lot of junk in here that you just don't need, and it's just high failure rates on them. So let's see if we can simplify our task here. Just gonna hardwire these together because this comes out of the kind of starter solenoid, which is almost like a distributor for power. And then this one goes and feeds the engine systems over here. And then this, of course, feeds the rest of the whole electronic system up here. And then we'll throw a little bit of solder on top of there to hold them together once we verify that this, in fact, does work. Okay, now the next step is we have to make sense of all this spaghetti over here. I think what I'm going to do is maybe put them together on eyelets so I can kind of bolt them all together like on a battery kind of stud. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. This way we can bypass the whole problem with the key and everything and just have it all running as a solid system. That's the annoying thing about this thing, is they make it too complex and prone to failure. It's a good performer when it performs. Problem is it doesn't want to perform most of the time. Okay, so now we got all these guys together. So we could just kind of run them all together kind of like a little panel. All right, well, let's give it main power and see if anything comes to life. I'll move you guys down here on the ground so we don't knock you over somewhere. This way I can just kind of hot connect it here quick, just to essentially test. Sure, we're neutral. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but let's see. Okay, we have no power coming to the switch at all. Okay, what in the phooey is that about now? Looks like I may just have to start hacking and just totally replace the wiring harness altogether. I fuzzy flippin' fixed it on day 2. The Husqvarna. Because I'm the one who flippin' broke it. Isn't that great? Anyway, I finally got the wiring all figured out here. What a jumbled spaghetti mess over here. All kinds of spaghetti with no salsa, but that's fine because you know what? It looks complicated, but it's actually way more simple than it really is. And that's kind of what I figured because it's a lawnmower. Like all I need is power to run that automatic carb choke and the fuel system and the spark and everything else. So clearly the engine only has really just one power source, right? That's it. Everything else is all mechanical or hydro-mechanical. So not like anything else runs off of electric motors. There's a reason why these things going into like 2-into-1 portal here. All these have to be connected into a series of circuits, right? Including your ignition, including your seats, including your blade PTO. All that has to go into a combined circuit. And the reason for that is because it has multiple levels of safety to it. Each one of those sections, if they are interrupted, will cut the engine, cut the fuel, turn everything off for safety. So if you get up while the engine is running and you have your things not in neutral, cuts the engine. If you get up with the PTO engaged and your blades are spinning, it will cut off the motor for your safety. Because of that, it looks very, very complicated, but you only have a couple of main wires that you actually need to make this thing run and work. So let's delve into that part. This apparently is on Murray's, Kubota's, Husqvarna's, a lot of different makers, Cub Cadet, all kind of have a similar thing. Red power powers everything. You want to do it kind of lower downstream after your ignition circuit, but before the rest of the circuits here. So that way you power everything else up. That's going to be main power that's going to stay underneath the dash or underneath the seat over here. That way we flip it on, flip it off. It counts also as a battery disconnect. That's why I did it way downstream over there. So it gives us dual purpose, battery disconnect and main power disconnect all in one. We don't have to have multiple splices, none of that. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So when we flip our main switch over there, we need power to deliver to the purple circuit. So that's what I did. I took my eyelets apart here and just connected red to purple. Red obviously is hot. Okay, we know that. That's been already identified. Purple is the one that actually feeds power to all the circuits, including your engine. I tracked it all the way down through the harness, all the way back over here. Purple is the wire that we really need to worry about. These two white wires, or any of these white wires in this whole circuit here, is your emergency kill switch and ground for that. So if any one of these systems, either the key trips it, either the PTO trips it, either one of those sensors trip it, it will cut your fuel and cut your spark and kill your engine. This is an engine kill, is what it is. It will kill. And yeah, that's what we're doing wrong, is when we're trying to combine all these circuits, because it didn't make sense that plus this, plus that, plus my ass, it just didn't work, right? And that's why, because we're actually connecting into the engine kill circuit as well too. So we got that sorted out. Yellow is your actual starter. That's why you have it here, because if your PTO is up and you try to restart, it will disconnect. We still want to keep that for now. So we're going to keep it upstream of that. I don't have to hawk and cuck and cut and whatever the hell else those words are. And that goes to your solenoid over there, and that starts it. And we're going to keep this splice out with the eyelet, because what we're going to do is we're going to hook this and that to the actual push button starter switch. Black with white stripe and straight black are going to be the same. They're grounds. Now what we're going to do with this emergency cutoff system here, because the ground, this only does to take the static and excess electricity that can kind of build up in certain parts of your system, and it could shock, set off the gas, shock you, who knows what. And we're going to kind of connect it into the main power circuit here with just a normal rocker switch, and we'll put it up here on the dashboard. So in case we need to real quick, boom, hit it with your hand, cuts everything off. Kill switch engaged. I love that band. Play them. Oh, I can't play the music. Go! Freaking A, dude. Anyway, but that's what you do. So we got that. Have to get another fuse block and fuse, 20 amp per fuse, a big one. I have a 30 amp, like big truck one. So we may just do that instead. But that's it. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So let's go ahead and make this pretty, make it finalized. Husqvarna will finally be back to working again, at least for the time being, until something else breaks on this hunk of shit. I saw on the internet, a lot of people have problems with the Husqvarnas. They're just, something is not good with them. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I think I'm going to go ahead and remove the barrel once again, because this is a perfect size hole. We can drill that out a little bit more and be able to put in our push starter here, because it's got a little nut collar, and it'll be able to stay nice and safe up inside the housing here. The connections will be right there. And then we will put our master kind of in a similar spot to where the other one was. Hang it maybe over here somewhere. We'll go ahead and put our emergency kill switch, rocker switch there. That's it. She running now, man. Running. Woo! Bell flipping time. All right, let's cut off a little section here so we have enough to work with. Got a couple of leads about like that long there. It's like 16 gauge wire. Because again, those power wires are not that big of a wire there, so not too big of a deal. So now we already have one widened out. Let's go ahead and widen out this one. I'm just using a Pittsburgh pick from Harbor Freight. I'm just going to kind of widen out those little connectors there, those little arch overs. Make sure it fits and crimp her shut. So I'm doing the crimping. I'm using the little spire part over here, kind of get that crimp started and set those two little arms down tight in the center there, where we don't have a loose connection happening. I'm using my flat part here, kind of smush them down the rest of the way to really make a good tight connection. Make sure you pull on it, make sure it stays tight and doesn't wiggle jiggle. Beautiful. Go ahead and get this onto our thing here, to our fuse. I want it to be able to pull out of there if you need to, but loose enough so it actually, or tight enough so it doesn't just vibrate off. This one comes directly from the starter solenoid, which acts like a distributor of the power. These two here, one goes to the motor, one goes to your power switch up here to run your ignition system. So we're going to probably just put those two guys together onto one, and then this guy onto the other pigtail here. Fan out my wires here, splice them in together. That's why we have the one feed wire going in to one side of the fuse, and then to the other side of the fuse we can have the power going out. All right, yeah, I'm glad I gave myself plenty of length of lead wire here because I'm definitely going to need it. So we'll wait to solder everything together once we have kind of verified that our connections are going to be solid here. Okay, so we got that done. Now let's go ahead and get the starter switch installed. Because we're going to use this stud here as our power distribution point because it has to power the main system. This is the hot coming in. Then we need to have it connected with the switch here to our starter side. So we're going to make just a short lead here with 2 eyelets because this starter switch here has a screw-based bottom where those things can actually be unscrewed entirely and we could put a whole eyelet on it. So that's what we're going to end up doing. So let's make another little short section right there and make a little eyelet, jump across, and then we have our starter switch here. All right, let's just make a little short jumper here. We'll flip it around this way so we have plenty of room for the washer to sit down. So I have it on a nut and a washer down below. And so we make sure that we have good connection all the way throughout. Now the beauty of our starter switch here is it's kind of the screw type, and I got this intentionally so it makes for a better connection. So we're going to connect one side at a time here. This is a ratcheting screwdriver, which is super nice, but you can also lock it in. Now we got to get this side on. Okay, I moved you guys back over there because you were sitting on top of the motor. I don't want you guys to get kicked off or something happen to the camera. So I have you guys down here on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and connect the hot wire, and let's see if she runs. Yesterday I just started it just by touching the wires together. Let's see if today it's going to work a little better. Okay, power came on. So far so good, no smoking. Look at that! Fuzzy fixed the living shit out of that, even though I got the cat head right here in my eye. Hello! Meow! Meow! Shit gets weird up here. Anyway, yeah, so we will need to do a kill switch because I cut the main power, and just like I thought, the magneto is continuing to power the ignition. So we need to have a kill switch installed because it's just not going to cut off otherwise. Wango bango, ain't no tango. So great, let's go ahead and make up a kill switch. But that ran like a champ. And then we'll tidy everything up and pack everything back together, and this mower is good to go. No more issues with keys, no more issues with ignition barrels, no more issues with losing the key. Like I did, it's probably dropped out of my pocket when I was weed whacking, and more likely when I was probably leaning over operating the camera or something, maybe fell out in the yard, and good luck to you. I'll never find that shit again. I'm just glad it is doing its thing, and that's how you can do it too. All right, let's get to it. Boom. All right, so to make our jumper, I'm going to go ahead and recycle one of these old light switches here that I have for the automotive lights. So what we're going to need then, a couple of spades and a couple of loops here, because these loops are going to have to go and connect with the studs here, the power studs. So we're going to have one stud connecting to the kill switch circuit, and then one stud is going to go over to the power circuit. So we don't need a super long jumper, but we'll give ourselves enough lead here to be able to work properly. And we don't have to wrestle with it when we're reinstalling. All right, so this is the off side. Boom. All right. Okay, well, I have the soldering iron heating up here. I've never been that good at soldering, so we'll see how this will work for me or not. This is just a Harbor Freight simple one here. Simple plug-in. I know you have to tin your thing. If you guys are better at it and can give me some tips, that'd be fantastic. Should not be breathing in these fumes right here, but I kind of have no choice because of the angle here. It's soldering right on top of the gas tank. That makes me skeezed out, but I just have no choice. Well, it doesn't look actually half bad at all. A lot better than I've ever done before in the past, so. Okay, well, maybe. Chicago Electric. Check that out. Let's go ahead and solder up this guy here. Make sure I don't exhaust myself with that hot wire there. Let's see if we can do another test fire real quick before we insulate everything and just make sure everything works, including our little kill switch. Make sure we didn't like wire it backwards or something, because that could happen. We'll know if we don't hear power coming on and cranking. Kill switch is on. We just have to reverse the polarity and then it should come on. And then we'll just make sure that the kill switch actually works. And then we'll go ahead and tackle this wiring away, clean it up, insulate it, put it back in the corrugated, route it back to where it needs to go, and then we'll deal with our mounting system over here. And hallelujah, Husqvarna is fixed, like a Swedish meatball. Stop being silly and let's actually do some work. Let's go. All right, well, I kind of burned myself a little bit on the iron there. Just barely touched it for a second. I guess it's a lot hotter than I thought it would be. Hula hula. All right, let's make sure we can get power on. I have it all wired back up again, just for a quick last test. Make sure our kill switch is wired correctly and works correctly. All right, let's see. Yep, power on. Good. Woo! My finger. Ah, chiapa, boy. Woo, okay, look at that. We are so solid, I couldn't even tell you how solid I am. I'm so solid, I am a hyper-dense material. Well, I am dense. We already knew I was pretty damn dense to begin with. More on the colloquial side than the scientific side, but you know what I mean. All right, perfect. Kill switch is wired correctly. Kills it off. Starter starts. Engine run. Everything is hunky donkey dory. All right, let's go ahead and cut power, disconnect our negative terminal there so we safety the system, disconnect the hot lead, and then let's go ahead and start insulating everything and route things back and figure out how we're gonna mount it. Let's take care of that section next. Let's go. I'm sure you guys know how to insulate stuff, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that quick off camera. That way I have more angles to be able to work, and I'll show you the final result because it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you're wrapping electrical tape. How much more do you need to know? Who's going to stay around for that late in the video to watch that part? And if you do want to watch that part, comment below and I'll make a video of wrapping stuff in electrical tape. I guess. Well, whatever you guys like. Let me know. All right, let's get to it. All right, sit rep. So I got most of it kind of tied up together now. I got the first corrugated on, the second one running back down to the engine. Then, of course, I have to route all this mess up through here. And that's pretty easy because I can actually stick my hand down in there. I can see my fingers down there. So, and then we'll hand this over to ourselves and bring it up, and then we'll figure out how to mount onto our control panel here. And hallelujah, make it have a pretty stock look, but now on a starter switch and a kill switch instead of the stupid key, which we lost. And anyways, you guys saw in the first part over there, that thing was broken anyway. So that switch was just totally broken. And it was a troublesome switch from the beginning. Yeah, it's pretty much a failed switch. And that's going to happen on the Husqvarnas, Murrays, Toros, Cub Cadets, all of them that use any Briggs & Stratton or Kohler engine are going to have the same engine management and ignition system because it belongs to the engine, not to the tractor itself. That's why. So you'll have the same kind of all set up all together. You can apply this to any tractor pretty much. You just have to identify which wire does what. In our case, purple is the main power to the engine and to the body and the controls. Yellow is our starter. Red is our hot, which is pretty obvious. Black and black or white stripe are the grounds. Wango, bango, no tango. So let's go ahead and let's route it up because I'm at 36% battery, so we're kind of running low here. Okay, make sure our power is off. We're disconnected over there. Good. Vehicle batteries, pretty high amperage. I mean, they'll shop you pretty damn good. Okay. This is why I wanted to give myself plenty of leads here so I can kind of work and pull things where I needed to go. Let's see how we're gonna mount this right there. Now it'd be perfect just like that, really. So for this switch, I'm just gonna use some high strength Velcro, again available from Harbor Freight. This is 15-pound test. I've used these multiple times on the vehicles and such to mount these type of switches. A possibility where we may have to replace the switch. So the easier we make it to access and service, the better it is. And this is gonna hold it, perfectly fine. So I like to put the aggressive side onto the base and then the fuzzy side, fuzzy side, my namesake right there, up onto the actual device itself. Anyway, the main pressure on this switch is going to be going downwards and a little bit back and forth. So it's not that real big of a deal here. I have to kind of mush them and make those interlocking teeth interlock. Janky, but it'll do the job for right now. And we'll figure out a better way a little bit later on, maybe. Because who knows, we may have to replace that switch. These ones do have a tendency to kind of break inside, break internally. So once they do, you just pretty much have to replace it. You're not really going to be able to do much with fixing the actual switch itself. But they're cheap as chips. You usually get them. I get them for free in all the light kits I buy. So I just save them. No point to throw them away. Got to keep what you got to keep. Let's go ahead and take care of our starter switch here. They see me mowing. They hatin'. I forgot the rest of the words of the song. Ring, ding, 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 ding. Comment below if you remember that annoying frog thing. Ring, ding, 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 ding. All right, so we're basically just gonna have to drill out this whole entire middle section here. Just go ahead and do that. We just gotta be careful of that metal spring in there that could whip on us. And so, of course, it's not the safest way of doing things, but sure as hell works. All right, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, yeah. Yes, sucker, yeah. I never understood when people say that they're a 90s kid, but they didn't actually grow up in the 90s. They were just born in the 90s. I mean, does that actually count? It'd be funny if somebody claims that this is all artificial intelligence. I'd be like, well, I've been artificially intelligent since 86, so what'd you expect? All right, make sure we have enough good contact there. Oh, look how well that fits together. Boom, shaka. Laka. Pop her in. Look at that. Look at that. Victory. Oh, yeah. Our offside. All right, let's go ahead and run this guy through. So blade's got to go that way. Boom. go ahead and put our panel back. Look at that. Almost looks stunk. Or stock, or however you want to say that. Look at that. We are stonking. We are stonking like a donkin. All right, let's put our screw my thingies back in there. I want to be very careful because this is just basically plastic here. You don't want to crack it. There we go. So you really want to control your speed, control your torque. Look how beautiful that looks right there, man. That looks like some stonk shit. Ready for the beauty roll. I'm going to put that to music. Anyway, yeah, that's just my editorial note, so I know where to put the music at. She's looking pretty damn good. Let's figure out the rest of our thingies here. All right, let's get to it. Woo! All right, well, we made it just in time with 16% battery left on the camera. And let me show you what it looks like now. Check this out. Look how clean of an install this looks like. It looks almost factory like it was stock. I might change out for a better, more steel switch, but it kind of matches the aesthetic here. Anyway, got my fuse mounted over here. Perfect, easy to reach, easy to access, easy to change out. Just slip that on and off, done, boom, boom. And I got my main power switch over here. Drilled a hole because this has that same kind of screw collar right there as the starter switch does. Mounted everything over, insulated it with electrical tape so we don't have any crossing or shorting out anywhere. Reused some of the corrugated here, just kept everything nice and neat, everything packed away. Open here, perfect, can get access to what you need to. Everything is insulated, ready to rock and roll. And just flip your switch, boom, kicks on, main power, hit it. Starts like a champ without a single problem. It starts quicker than it did with the key. The key had to, There's bad connection. Killswitch engage, boom, boom. Rocking and rolling, baby. No steaming, no smoking, no sparking. Beautiful. So don't fret. If you have the same problem with a Murray, a Husqvarna, Kubota, any of these guys, Cub Cadet, Toro, they all use the same engine manufacturer. And as I said, the whole ignition and engine management system is tied to your engine, not to the make of the tractor body. So check that out. Boom. This Husqvarna is working better than it did in stock form. And now we don't have to deal with the key, which I did find the spare, but it's all rusted and chipped and broken. And anyway, that ignition barrel was no good. That thing was toasted. So I'm glad to finally not have to deal with that. Now we don't have to worry about no damn keys. Doesn't matter where the key goes. Anybody could come and start it, mow the yard. Hallelujah, you done. And man, it just looks so clean. I mean, just beautiful. This is the kind of install I wanted to do last year, but I needed to get the rest of the repair of the axles and the frame and everything else done and get that parasitic loss figured out. So I had everything apart and I just needed to slam it together and get it done. And then I never went back to it. I wanted to go back this year and I finally did. And beautiful. And she's looking good, running good. Make sure my tires are inflated there. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Wango, tango. Ain't no dango. We got it done, man. Look at that shit. We fuzzy fixed the living shit out of that. Hallelujah. All right, so don't fret if you got the same issue. If you lose your key breaks, your ignition barrel breaks, don't pay the manufacturer. Pay yourself the dividends of DIYing everything. So if you enjoyed this DIY adventure and learning how to, well, basically hotwire your own hot rod, Husqvarna, or any zero-turn lawnmower, where you either have a bad ignition cylinder, bad ignition switch, or you did like I did and you have that and you lost the key, so you can't even operate it. Don't get frustrated, don't get worried, don't get stressed, and sure as hell do not pay the manufacturer $180 for a new ignition switch. Go $31 for a master switch. That way you can also have a battery cutoff, push button start, kill switch it, wango bango, ain't no tango. You got it. And if you like this shit, well, check out the rest of this playlist here where we do all kinds of lawn, garden, and other DIY activities. And don't forget to check out this last video over here. And if you want to see trucks and other shit, well, we also do that as well too. So check out truck stuff. And you want to see tools and tool reviews, check out tool stuff. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Stay wild. And stay creating, I guess. I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say there, but stay wild. Woo! Let's get my one.